for me as a supervisor and running the park remotely, I'm able to track when people come to the park, when people are expected to come to the park, and any type of sales that go along with that. I've been running the campground for 2 years. This will be my third year coming up, but the CA has owned the campground since the late 60s, early 70s. Our camping season is typically May through until October. Our campground closes in the fall, but we do host a hunt camp for our local hunters, so that's kind of interesting. But otherwise, once our hunt camp is done in early December, we actually transform just back into a CA. Our CA is very limited to the infrastructure around camping. We don't have a pumping station. We don't have any sewage pump outs or anything like that. We've kept things fairly basic. We're a fairly small campground. So we do have a washroom building with showers and a little bit of amenities that way with some hydro and water. But otherwise, yeah, we try and keep things as simple as possible at Big Bend. Not saying that we don't want to expand and make things a little bit more user-friendly for the campground folks. But otherwise, yeah, when the camping season's over, it's very much just a conservation area, and that's the part we like about it the most. It's a lot that way in a lot of our lands that we own. You know, weighing out those factors on, you know, what's good for the land and what's good for, you know, the public and how we use that land. You know, our campground's been the way it is for quite some time, since the 70s. We really haven't changed too much. We've added a few sites here and there, but the actual land space, we've used it almost the exact same for the last like 50 years. So we do have some ideas. Obviously, funding is our number one concern. But yeah, we're hoping to expand in the near future, even in offering more electrical and water sites. That's one thing that we don't have a lot of. Out of the 45 campsites that we have, we've actually only got 6 that have hydro and water. So that's a really big drawback for campers, you know, nowadays, where they've got these big fancy trailers and motorhomes and other things where they really want those extra services. So that's one thing we're looking at expanding on in the near future and probably the next couple of years. But we do have some, you know, goals over the next 10, 15 years that we might expand the campground even further and incorporate some natural habitat in that. I'm sure a lot like many other campgrounds, we had paper permits. I wasn't around to see a lot of those. I came into the CA once we started making this conversion to online reservations and stuff. But yeah, we had a paper permit process where you'd fill out a paper permit. It was a 3-copy, and you'd pay an attendant that just happened to be at the park that way. It wasn't the most ideal. For us, our location is very rural, even compared to where our main offices are. So we actually don't have a full-time staff that stays there and that manages the park on a day-to-day basis. We run it very remotely, and we use our cell phones and stuff nowadays. So, you know, I really don't know much about how the campground was run before when it comes to the paper permits, but I'm sure many people who remember it remember the struggles of you know, trying to find an attendant, you know, making sure that the permit was filled out correctly, getting the correct funds, all those types of questions that now are mitigated from using an online reservation system. Beyond just the fact that we have online reservations, that's probably the biggest. For me as a supervisor and running the park remotely, I'm able to track when people come to the park, when people are expected to come to the park, and any type of sales that go along with that. When we had paper permits, it was harder to track firewood sales. It was harder to track when people came and when they left. With the online reservation, not only do we get instant feedback the minute a booking is made with an email or a ping on your phone, we're able to you know, better manage when people come and go, better manage making sure their site is clean and safe for them to come before they arrive. Where before, you know, people just showed up whenever they wanted to, where now we're able to implement things like check-in, check-out times so that we can at least check up on people and making sure they get what they need. even with the firewood sales through the Let's Camp website, it's allowed us to set up a really neat feature at Big Bend where you can pre-order your firewood and it's sitting there waiting for you when you arrive. There's lots of rural areas in Ontario where they use this feature, and we also use this feature. It's a great system and a great way for the user to not have to worry about it, right? Not have to worry about finding where is the wood being sold. Is it, a certain cost? It can all be prepaid, and it will be on your site when you arrive. Being on the Thames River, we have a lot of people that like to enjoy that, whether it be canoeing, kayaking, and we've had some interest where people want to canoe into their campsite. So you can imagine trying to carry firewood with you amongst all your gear. This mitigates that problem, and people can then just worry about themselves and getting to the campsite. Then when they arrive, they already know that the site's been looked after, and the firewood's sitting there waiting for them, and they can enjoy themselves the minute they get there. So those items in particular have been by far the biggest features for us to use with Let's Camp. Before, we had stuff online, but everything being on the internet now, it has been huge. So yeah, we posted where our campground was and what's there, and we had some road signs that kind of showed where the campground was if you were driving down the road, but not many people knew about us. And our Google reviews would show that not many people knew where we were or what we were all about. So having that online presence and having us included with so many other campgrounds on a database of some sort has exposed us in a great way. I really can't brag about how much we've grown, but I know for sure that we've doubled in sales just in the last 2 to 3 years. Compared to what we used to, and that's all based on getting yourself out there and getting yourself exposed. So Let's Camp, the software has been great for that because lots of people use it, and then we can get our name out there, and then people can come and enjoy the property. Well, for me, I'm a nature lover, so I would want people to come to the CA to enjoy the campground for its nature. We really don't have a whole lot of those amenities like the pools and those types of things. But if you're really looking to just get away somewhere close to home, that's our biggest appeal at Big Bend Conservation Area.